All right, so it is January 2nd, 2019, Budget Committee meeting. I'll call it to order at 6:31. We all want to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We used to do that.
Either that or Travis starts reading.
Go ahead.
You go, I'll mouth it.
Go ahead, you're being recorded.
I know, that's what I said.
You can try out for American Idol.
No, I don't think I'd even make it to the, I wouldn't even make it any, nobody, it wouldn't get mailed, let's put it that way. So, I think first item on the agenda is approve the minutes from prior meetings.
Did we do that the 5th? I know we brought it up at the last meeting.
No, you didn't, because you
Okay.
didn't have a copy.
No, I did have that one, I pulled it out.
Oh, but
Yeah,
we didn't, we did not approve them for.
I don't
No, I
think
don't
we
think
did, but she brought them out, but I don't think
Right.
we approved them.
And I was trying to remember why we didn't.
I don't either,
I
because
think
I
they just
remember,
kinda got pushed off
yeah,
and
because we got going
went
in the
out
middle of
about it or
everything else,
something.
so we have the minutes from, what meetings do we have?
So that would be the first one, so the 12/5.
Okay, so I think I've already seen
I don't
them. I
have
saw
one
those,
copy of
no,
that.
we've seen, I saw these last time, and I
Yeah,
was good with
that's
them. I think, I don't think anybody else wanted to see them. I think we were all good. We saw them at the last meeting, we just didn't vote on them, or approve them, I don't know why. Nope.
Okay, you have copies, right?
I only had the one for the,
12-5, okay, 12-5, yeah. Yeah, so that Jill has those.
okay.
Huh? We started.
Is he supposed to meet us here, do you know, or if he's just going over there, Hotchkiss?
I think he's gonna probably just go over.
Okay, so we won't wait.
I told him it starts at 7.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yep.
So we're just looking at the minutes that, for some reason, we looked at them last time, but I don't think we didn't end up voting and approving them or whatever. So, and this is the same, yes, this is just the same one as what you have.
That's this one.
No, well, Janet's got the 12-5. and then
Yeah, I got
it's
the 12-5,
horrible.
So tiny. The 12/5, I
Well,
only brought
Janet's
one.
only got,
copy
Janet's
of
got
that.
one copy, we can show, give the share and just pass it along, and then this is just the other.
I'll give you the second page in a minute.
Okay.
Need this one?
Yeah, so we'll entertain a motion, somebody will make a motion to
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as read
for
for
December 5.
December 5th, 2018.
Was I here for that meeting?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Is there a
Who's
second?
second?
Oh, sorry, I think, no, I didn't yet. Oh, all right.
I'll second.
Okay, sorry, I thought I heard a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, oh,
Aye.
you want to discuss it? No, yes. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed or abstained?
Good.
So, I think the next one is, we're looking at is 12-11?
You have 12
You guys
on
look at
both
these?
of these.
Yeah, you have
They are,
12.
there are two. There's one's a public hearing
Oh.
and one's our
Oh,
budget
okay.
meeting.
So,
okay.
thank you.
So this must be the public hearing.
I would suggest that we don't approve the rest of it tonight because there's a lot of money, like numbers, and I don't think we can go over
Okay.
it, like, you know?
All right, so
Yeah.
then.
I just
so
want everybody
everybody's
to look
okay.
at it really good because if I miss something, I wanna.
Okay, all right, so then we can walk away with these and we can vote on those on the next
Did
meeting.
everybody get them? I don't know again.
Yes.
I have not checked my mail today, so,
You had an issue last time though.
yeah, well,
I
I
haven't
got a
checked
new
my mail
tablet,
today,
so
Oh, okay.
hopefully I can get them on there, but I will let you know if I can.
That one's the public, oh no, that's the budget meeting.
So we'll vote on those on 121. So just as a follow-up for the school budget. I've been in contact with Kathy Lean, and I just need to send over to her, our finalized numbers. However, and you have those in front of you. But also the revenue, we didn't talk about the revenue at the last meeting, because, for some reason we didn't have it or whatnot. So we can talk about that now, if we want to.
Because it's what?
Yes.
Okay.
So-
No, I didn't know it was not unlocking anything.
No, you didn't select me, so I'm doing it.
Unfortunately, they can steal things.
So if we wanna go through the revenue, and then, and if everybody, again, just review, this is all, everything we agreed on the budget part. That's all what we agreed on the last meeting and voted on, and I will send this all off to Kathy tomorrow. So on the revenues,
We have the version?
the second page.
No, I don't think, well, was this yours?
No, this
Oh,
was
sorry. He's got it.
Are we good now?
Yeah.
All that is a speaker that transfers it up there.
Oh, okay.
Since I missed it, did we ever get an answer on that number?
Yes, but
It was, so technology at playground?
that's that one.
That's in your minutes too.
Okay.
Exact number.
And that is it in the menu in minutes, it's listed as
Yeah, it's 72,000 something.
Does anybody else need a
Playground.
copy?
technology is playground. Interesting. Okay.
I do need to make a copy, Janet, I have it.
Oh, you have it?
I have extra one right here.
Okay.
Liz, I should,
Thank you for,
I keep running it over with my damn chicken. So
Thank
this
you,
one
ma'am.
and this one, do you have those two? Did you already have?
I have the
Do you
original
have
one.
how many kindergartners?
Right, and that's the same, so that should match what we agreed, this all matches on what we agreed upon at the last meeting.
No, that's different than what we had, okay.
Did you get a copy of this, Dave?
And did you get this,
No.
did you have this?
17?
That was all part of that package, 3 pages tonight.
Okay.
if I did, it did not print it.
Did you have all 3 of these pages, Ken?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just let me make sure everybody's got.
Was it last meeting? I don't remember now. Hold on, I'll find it.
So, okay, so if we wanna briefly look at the revenue, so all I did for the revenue piece, and this is up for discussion, is I took the proposed and moved it over into the budget committee. We can discuss that and make changes as anybody wants to, that's fine. So we'll start with the state revenues. Proposed for school building aid is $1,265,351.
There is no school building aid.
This thing-
Oh, I'm sorry, state grant, I'm on the wrong line,
We
sorry.
can wish there was.
Yeah,
but-
sorry, I'm sorry, I can't, probably should need glasses. Sorry, that's me, state grant line, $1,265,351. Yeah, it would be nice if we had school building aid, right? So I kept that the same. That looks like it's going down from what we actually received in 2018 and what we're gonna receive into 2019. Is that, right? What determines that, Ken, do you know?
The state legislature is reducing it, they're getting rid of the, there was a continuing supplementary aid that they were offering for a number of years, and they're finally
That was under the last lawsuit,
taking it
right?
up.
That was from the last lawsuit that they had,
I
or
don't
the
think-
original lawsuit.
I don't know about that, all I know is
That's what I've been hearing on the news.
that sounds kind of contrary to me, but, because the lawsuit was about getting more aid.
Right, but now what they're doing is they're trying to cancel that out and cut the aid down. That's how they're doing it.
It's a
Right.
stabilization grant, which
Yeah.
was originally intended to help more fiscally difficult communities adjust to what was going to be coming. Well, year after year, the legislature was postponing and postponing, and now they're not postponing the stabilization grant, they're actually cutting it down year after year, and that's what you're seeing here.
Great, that's nice. So we have nothing on the next 2 lines, which is school building aid and area vocational aid. Kindergarten aid proposed was 15,000, so that's what I put over in the budget committee proposed. proposed for 2019 was 19,040. Is that for, I want to throw that out, this out there, is that for full, all-day kindergarten?
Yes. But you only gotta get a percentage of it.
No, I just didn't know, I mean, do we do, this is just a question, do we do all-day kindergarten in Mid? Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure about that.
And this is the recent bill that passed, the
Right,
the
that's,
poker or whatever
Right.
the gambling.
which they're gonna, right, so what they would pay,
Keno games.
Yeah.
which they would pay towards, to make it full day, right, to make kindergarten full day, is that what that, yeah, that's what I thought, okay, that's why I was asking this. Catastrophic aid, it's 15,000, and that's what I put over there, was 15. Why didn't we budget anything for 2019, I wonder? Not that it cost.
Why didn't we budget what?
Why wasn't there anything in 2019
They
budget?
probably weren't anticipating
Oh,
anything.
okay. Child nutrition, that we have nothing in there, so that's, keeping that. Other state programs, nothing, so, but the total state revenues is like 1,295,351.
So, that's money coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
So
up with
then-
what we're spending.
Yeah, so then we, this number is much more smaller than the number. So then we have the federal revenue lines, so there's the ESEA, chapters 1 and 2. Proposed is 45,000, so that's what we went with, and that looks like it's a decrease from what was budgeted in 2019. Handicap programs, 22,000, so we kept to the 22. Vocational programs, we have nothing, we don't have anything in that line. Child nutrition, 30,000, we kept that at 30,000. Medicaid is 10,000. Wow, look at that, we budgeted 40,000 in 2018. And so for 2020, we have $10,000 budgeted for that line, and there's nothing in the other federal programs, so total federal revenue line is $107,000. If anybody wants to speak up or say anything, I'll just go ahead. So then the last part is the local revenue. So we have tuition line, there's nothing in the tuition line. The investment and interest is $450. Transportation service, there's nothing in that. School lunch and milk sales, 30,000. Nothing under the summer school or the adult education lines. So the total for the total local revenue is $30,450. So with a total of $1,432,801. So why wouldn't we have anything in the tuition line?
It's not income.
Right.
If there are students being tuitioned into our schools.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, I just, I don't know that.
Now you know.
Maybe we should advertise. Does the elementary
No.
school do summer school?
What do you mean by summer school?
Don't they do, like, summer school starts in like July? It's just a very
There
short
is,
thing.
because they sent a bus past my house.
Generally, you have children with an IEP that have an extended school year. I'm not sure if you're gonna be doing the summer program, it's two different things.
So that would be under expenses, not income.
Right. Well, it would
I
be
don't
like
know
if,
if parents had to pay
Pay,
like a
right,
portion.
yes.
Like my daughter only did the camp for a week.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So, yeah, not very much.
I do know that several of Tammy's daycare kids a year or two ago were going to summer school because their grades were behind. But it allowed them to get some of their grades, like they advanced into the next class, whatever. But that's all part of the regular taxes, the school year thing. They didn't pay anything extra for it.
I mentioned there's not many that
Well, a
have.
lot of summer school, like parents in other districts, your parents have to take it. No, that's nice.
That camp convention, that was the one that was up at Effingham? Oh, that's right, they did do it down here, right.
Younger son
It started-
interned there the whole week, but it was great, it was only $25.
Yeah, it started up in Effingham, and that was actually a grant that Governor Rogers got from the state, extended it down a year, I believe.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so with that, if we want go ahead and, if everybody's good with these numbers for the revenue, because we've already voted on the budget numbers, the expenditures, if we wanna go ahead and vote to have, vote on the revenue numbers, somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
For the, well, for the amount to be 1,432,801.
1,432,801.
Anybody second? All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstains?
Not what you can do about it, it is what it is.
So I think that
That's what you get.
completes our, so I will send that off to, I will send these out, email to everybody if you want. You already have a copy, but I will be sending the numbers to Kathy tomorrow so that she can go ahead and do the MS 27, and then what will happen is that'll come back to us for us to sign like we did last year. So I believe, as soon as she gets that back to me, I will get in contact. I think we will be able to sign it at the next meeting. If it needs to be signed before that, I will let everybody know if that has to happen.
Okay, I've got a question.
Sure.
They said we got back $600,000 or $670,000 from their surplus.
For 2000, for the last year.
For the
Yeah.
year ending last
Yeah.
June. Last June?
Yes,
Okay.
30 cents.
yeah.
Why did we only get 670,000 when there was 1.3 million surplus? And that's direct from Kathy O'Blaine.
I don't know what the 1 point.
$1,333,240.
Where
Where
is that? Where is that in the money?
That's the question.
What are you looking at? That's
An
it.
Well,
email
does
that
it- okay,
came from
so-
Kathy.
is
It's
it-
down from the surplus of the year before.
Was this
So the
year-
year before was more than that. The surplus was more than that.
Well, okay, that's what it was, surplus is down from the previous year. Does it mean the previous year was 1.3
No,
million?
previous year was more.
Then I don't know.
It doesn't carry over. It doesn't build up like, are you thinking like the SAU?
No.
Carry it,
No.
accumulate it?
No. The surplus for the year ending this past June was 1.3 million. Why did only 670,000 come back to the people?
Well, I'd like to know why it doesn't reflect it in the DOE 25.
That's straight from Kathy, because Laura contacted her, because after the tax bills went out, people started calling Laura, wanting to know, and explaining why the taxes went up on the school side. I mean, granted, the overall tax rate only increased 134 or 104, something like that. So she called Kathy, and Kathy finally got back to her with this email.
That something,
That came from Kathy.
it may be so, but I don't think she probably understood the question. It has to be because,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, we got half of it.
I think you're misinterpreting this. This says,
The year
This
before
is-
was more than 1.3, this past year was 1.3.
let's just read it ourselves, we all can figure it out, because I haven't seen it yet.
hi Laura. I'll go back to what Laura wrote. Good afternoon, Kathy. Since our recent tax bills went out, I have been inundated with questions on why the school rate has increased and why there is a surplus each year of 500,000 plus. Is there an explanation I can provide to the taxpayers? Tyler, I apologize for not responding until now, as I was informed by a board member that you had sent an email and I had not responded. This surplus is down from the previous year. So I would interpret that to mean that, it's increased where there's a surplus each year of 500,000 plus. Was at $1,333,240. Now that the school has been open for 3 years with good history on expenses, and what the needs are of the school and the building. I would ask that if you have people asking what the school's budget, you would refer them to us, please send me my phone number, it's right there.
Which is what she's been doing.
So I'm not reading in this that the end of the fiscal year 18 was 1.3.
That's how Laura and I interpreted
I
it.
think, the way I interpret that is, at one point, when the school first got opened, there was a big overage in there, because
Yeah.
we had SAU that we had down here taking care of it, they had these people that take care of it, everybody's involved in our budget. Okay, so
So-
we had an overage.
The only way I can answer that question, to be honest with you, is that I know the DOE 25 was filled out. I think I shared that
Yeah.
with the committee here. It said $606,000. If you feel it's $1.3 million, that's out of my purview.
I know,
I
that's
think
just
you're really
coming from her.
talking law enforcement type thing, so I recommend that you go about that road.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, I mean, you know, here we are, each year the budget is going up, and each year you have more and more money that's coming out in the surplus, and now she's saying that it's 1.3. We got back 670,000, that's half of the 1.3.
Was that shared with the school board? No.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I can ask Laura to send it to me and I can share it with Andrea and when I send it, and ask Kathy if she can elaborate on it.
Or just say if it's a cumulative.
Right, what does the
you
one
know,
point
It'd
three
be-
represent?
yeah, but even at that, it can't be
This-
cumulative,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't do it
This
that way.
surplus is
Cause
down
it's,
from the
there's some
previous year.
misinterpretation somewhere,
Comma,
I don't know where.
It was at 1.3 million.
right, the
But now,
1.3 is from June.
this surplus is down from the
What year?
previous
Right.
year. If, the comma means a lot.
Yes,
It was at
I'll-
1.3.
I'll ask Laura to forward that to me. and
This is interesting, because I know I'm pretty adamant about $82,000 being listed as
Exactly.
technology and when it's a playground.
Yep.
$1.3 million is a lot worse than 82,000.
Right.
And it's a lot of money.
well, she gave me the email, I'm sharing it with you guys, whatever happens with it happens.
Can I get a copy of that? Because that's
Sure.
quite interesting.
I mean, I can,
Thank you.
ask Laura to forward me the email and I can share with Andrea and.
She may have already done that, I don't know.
Right, but I mean, just as everybody's in the
Yeah.
loop to find out, kind of get some explanation, a clearer explanation, I
Yeah.
guess, a clearer one, so we all know. I don't think we're gonna get the
So I
answer.
got a question. The school, Middleton School Board, whatever, we have auditors that do the books for the school, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that
audit
line, we
report-
saw that line because
Well,
that
the
was,
audit report
right,
is done every year, just like the town does it, the National Include Pay on who does it, the school, whatever. I mean, if it's there, they'll know.
That's what I
They'll
would
know,
think,
if they'll know, it. I don't when they have, when they do the audits and stuff like that, but, I mean, it'll be there in the numbers.
okay. Moving right along. So now we're gonna move into the.
Is there a way we can put a request in for more information about this?
I said I would send it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Just making
You're
sure.
not gonna get your answer tonight.
Oh, I don't,
Wait a minute.
none of my answers come in anytime close
Maybe
to
this
that.
is
I-
they need to run it,
Pretty
so
used
that
to
you
that.
can continue to
I
do
didn't
it,
come up
right.
with it came from Kathy,
Oh.
I believe, you know,
Just,
so.
thank you for finding that, Jen. And if it's right, it's right, if it's not, oh well, hey, we make mistakes.
Right.
Okay, so, moving along, so we're gonna move into the, town budget.
Going on, we're working off the pages left.
I can get you, just a second, 12/5,
Yep, that's what I got.
152, I'll get you a copy. And you need a copy?
I need a copy.
Do you need a copy, Ken?
Yes, please.
Okay. Anybody else need a copy? While we're right here.
I'll shoot the messenger here, that's all I
You
can
got,
say.
so 1, 2, just 3, 1, 2, 3 copies. Does this thing do legal?
Just hit that bottom button that's lit.
No, I know, but does it have legal paper in here?
Yeah, I'm sure it does on the right hand, lower right hand side, I think, lower right hand side.
Lower right-hand side, that's right here.
Around the corner,
Over here?
that's the right hand side.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, it should be, it's not, oh, that's really big paper. Well, I'll just reduce it.
Saw that.
I think I brought my glasses.
Saw that
You'll
one.
be missing out
How's
the
that plus
numbers.
1.75 working out for you?
No, it's, well,
Either that, or you guys better
well,
break out
where
your
is the, where is
microphones.
the reading of the, where is the wire, where is the legal paper?
I saw your wife from the store the other day.
So
we
that's
had
why
to
I'm-
shoot.
Can't you just press that
Yeah,
as an
this is
option, no?
destroying her.
What? I don't think there's legal paper in here.
Is there even an option on here?
Yeah, well,
No,
Walmart's
easy
accounting
copy,
process
easy
went from,
scan. I'm gonna do easy
Manual to-
copy.
no,
the automated.
to
Do
the
this.
automated too.
Is that?
I'm just gonna
12 by
type it in a
18.
big box and it's got.
Well,
Wow.
I know, but this isn't
She's
12 by
doing it
18,
like
but I
this,
can do
this.
it 12
Oh,
by
yeah,
18.
This, oh, yours too.
Yeah,
Let's
That's
see.
all they have for
I
options.
try to get it.
Well, let's see, well, see, I can reduce it, well, we'll see how it comes out.
She gets it from somewhere. It's where she printed.
Yeah.
But just because there's a number in there.
Yeah, Nick's got mine
That's
notes
a
on.
question I have.
And that's also not just a question, but that's all, like
Look
this,
at this,
that's
this
a
is
town
pretty
question.
bad.
It's over to you guys.
I live in
Have
this
more
town.
room at the table.
But
I
discussion
should get my
points.
dress on.
You make common mistakes like this, there's a lot happening.
Ken, did they take any of that
Open
money,
trade too, to add paper.
any of the surplus? I know they're taking 2.5%. Can they
Oh,
take any of
look
the
at that, Ken.
surplus money before
Right here.
it's given back to people to encumber certain lines?
Let's see if this will work.
Only if I have voted
It's a
school.
different time, right? Everything else.
So you guys would
Who's
have,
they?
the business office.
No, they can't. They have no authority over that whatsoever.
Everyone else says,
So when numbers are encumbered, it's through our school board? For, like, for down here, for the kids,
oh, it's the same thing.
or for, well, for the school
They
budget?
find out.
Who votes on the school budget too? Because I noticed that there are lines that have money encumbered. Who votes on that? Our school
Easy
board or
copy.
their school board?
Yeah, she has a different time too.
What?
Okay, so you're
Ratio.
talking, you're
Here
talking
we go.
operational encumbrances throughout the year.
Yeah,
You're not talking encumbrances at the end of the year. Or both,
maybe both.
Paper,
okay?
Can they
So during-
use,
original.
well, it would have to be at the end of the year. Can they use any of that surplus before they give back the net figure to the town?
Use back of what surplus?
If there's a surplus, say there's a surplus of $800,000, we got back 670, there's still 230. That's not accounted for, but they use that 230 to encumber it in different funds.
So, well, first of all, everything is accounted for. This is all.
Well, I know that, but that's what I'm asking, is that how they're accounting for it? Are they using it as encumbrances?
For what?
For any of the lines, I mean, it's like I said, I noticed in the school budget
Why
that you
is this
were
not
given us.
working?
Does it have paper?
I
So,
noticed in there
let's-
that there's an encumbrance, there was an encumbrance column.
Let's put it in general terms.
Okay.
Beginning of the school year, let's say we have a student that's being tuitioned out of district,
Right,
and it costs $50,000.
right.
Are you out
They
of
will-
paper?
Paper empty.
I'll get
I
everybody
got paper
involved.
here, I'm trying to get it.
Go through this twice.
This is reselect.
I mean, that's what I'm wondering with this, if some of that money was used.
Lord. Needs to be a.
It's a maximum of 2.75 that can be withheld, is that correct?
2.5.
2.5 that can be withheld.
Yeah.
The rest, by law, needs to be returned
To the tax.
to the taxpayers.
Do you know how they do
Right
it?
here.
I'm asking.
What they do is when they go to the next year's tuition, they don't have the interest to do so. But you have to raise your total.
So,
I think I got it.
the end result,
Okay.
You're indirectly giving.
you're indirectly getting, okay, but
Oh,
you're
for
still
the love of God, this is like.
getting it
really-
back as a rate reduction.
And on top of it, still have to raise the program.
Like, really?
And that's why to support the schools that are coming in.
Machine's getting the better of you.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But if they, sorry,
I can look.
but
up.
if
Okay.
a certain
I'm like,
2.5%.
it really shouldn't be that difficult, but apparently
What
it
is to
is
prevent
for
them
me.
from saying, we're gonna give 2%?
I mean, we're paid.
It's like, we're gonna return more, or we're gonna return less, or is it, this must be that
Well, that's my,
percent?
that's my question.
Just stupid.
Or do I say, hey, no, we need more money down here, which is less money to be returned?
21st.
And there was a comment in here, if that gets voted on by the school board, my next question on
Sorry.
that, is that get voted on the school board in a public
You
or a
can share
private meeting?
with,
Oh, public.
I can take it if you
Yeah.
So
want.
we have
No,
no.
it's fine.
Did you bring your bifocals?
Hey, I figured I had glasses on,
Okay.
make it
You
easier.
can share with, I'll
You
share
can
with
share
you.
mine.
I'm sorry.
All right, so
Had I known this-
Janet's asking about encumbrances.
Yes.
So I'm gonna just give a
Oh.
general understanding.
I may be
overlay-
asking it wrong, so.
Overlay of how I
Okay.
understand things, and then you can go with the
I'll
questions
get
afterwards.
this with you with it.
So hypothetically, let's just say we have a student's out of district $50,000 a year, at the beginning of the school year. They will provide a budget status sheet to the board, and you guys are getting them.
Yes.
And they'll encumber in accounting
Right,
$50,000. And as the year progresses and actual expenditures go out,
that number will
you'll
go
see
down.
the encumbrance drop, and you'll see
Right.
the actual expenditure go up. And they do that not in the sense of like an encumbrance, which I'm gonna get to, they do it so as the board can see it, where we are. In other words, the district has a commitment to make this expenditure.
Right,
Similarly, with the staff that have signed contracts, anything that we know, we have a fixed cost, pretty much, that's where it's gonna go. And that's, if we start running into trouble and we start heading into a deficit, those are areas we're not gonna be able to cut back on. So we know that when we're in the budget. So if we get to the 8th or 9th month in the school year, we get to April, and we're running into a deficit in some lines, those are placeholders, so we don't touch that money to
Right.
make sure that student still gets out of district tuition, because if we run out of money, we're out of money.
right.
Okay, so we've had situations where, I know in Farmington, they've done stops on buying paper goods,
Yep.
things like that, because they know they have a supply, and they'll know they can make up for it the following year, so they look at all these dynamics. So that's the one encumbrance I think you mentioned in
Right.
that line, that's not voted on by the board. It's more an operational and fiscal
Right.
readiness type thing.
That part I understand.
Then at the end of the school year, we know that we're gonna have certain billings come in for the months of May and June that'll come in July. The business office will again know that those billings are coming, and they're gonna wanna pay them with funds that have been raised and appropriated for this use and services of power, heat, whatever it may be, to get it expended in that budget. On top of that, there are also things that the board has done in the past of encumbering money for maybe a lawnmower or some other piece of equipment, because there were funds there, and they encumbered it and make a purchase
That's my
within
question.
30 or 60 days,
Right.
something like that. And it would get purchased in July or August, not during that fiscal year. The piece about the 2.5% I just heard you guys talking about is that the board can also, currently, right now, we can also put into it's actually called a contingency fund by state law, up to 2.5%.
Right.
Which can only be used to offset the tax rate, and emergency expenditures such as tuition or things like that.
Kind of like the town.
And it has to get approved by the Department of Education, and I believe the DRA when it comes to the tax rating.
Yeah,
So in other words, like the selectmen do on their side of the town tax rate, they'll move things around as far as what the fund balance is.
right,
It also helps the school district, we can throttle it a little bit if the board so elects to do that,
Right.
to help get a more level plane of tax rate. Does that?
yes,
And that balance number only comes after all the encumbered bills that may have been in May, June, or whatever, are fully expended and paid for. So that final bill that you have is a true number, this is the remaining money that's left over, there's no outstanding bills that's not been paid.
And as of what date, what do you?
Well,
what are you
for
alluding
the
to?
school or for us, it doesn't matter. Right now, we
So
have
that's-
some bills that from
that's-
November and December.
So that's generally reconciled by September 1.
Exactly.
That's the goal. The DOE 25, notice 25 is supposed to be submitted by September 1. That's the goal, doesn't always happen. I think we were like at September 18th. The sooner you get it in, the sooner DRA can process it,
Right.
and depending on when the town gets their information, the sooner you can set the tax rate.
So basically, I mean, it's not just like, you just 2% of whatever the number
No,
is. They have
and-
to, there's a very defined
Oh,
number at the end that 2% comes out of. That's
That
what I'm
would be,
saying.
that's,
I thought we
you'd have to look
talked
at the
about
law, but that's the total budget, I believe.
Okay.
Not, has nothing to do with encumbrance, nothing to do with fund balance. So that 2.5% has nothing to do with the $600,000, if that's what I'm hearing you say.
That's why I thought it was like.
No, it
No,
doesn't
no.
against this whole budget.
Okay, I guess
2.5%
I-
of the
That much I
believe it's a
understood.
total budget, you have to look
Yeah.
at the law, I honestly don't know if it's what we fundraise, or is it what the total budget, is it the 3.5 million, or is it the 5 million?
It'd be nice
In
way
simple
to find out
terms.
where that money comes from then.
What
Yeah.
money?
But the 2.5%, 2.5%.
Only, that 2.5% will only come about if there is a fund balance.
Right,
If there's no fund balance, and it's, you have
That's right.
a zero balance at the end of the year,
exactly.
Okay, so.
unless
that's-
somebody's got
that's
a
like-
tree.
well,
to-
okay,
That's
so-
like-
So you can
That's
only
like the-
keep the 2.5 if you have it in the fund balance.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
But if you have more, any up to September 1st, you can say, we need money for fill in the blank, and it can be used for anything else, because it's still a
No.
bottom line budget.
No, that.
Or is it only for those items that weren't paid for,
Are you talking about contingency fund right
Yeah.
now? What are you talking about?
The surplus.
the surplus?
The 2.5.
The fund balance at the
Yeah.
end of the year, like the 600,000.
Yeah,
Any kind of encumbrance out of that the board would do would have to happen prior to June 30th. You
but it
cannot-
could still be spent prior to June 30th.
Yes, and it could be spent after June 30th.
As long as they encumber it.
Correct. Okay. It's like, hey, as long as we have money, let's keep it going. Just-
No,
Okay, so,
hold on for a
yeah,
minute.
sure.
They can't spend that 2.5
I know.
No, he's
without
talk-
DRA.
He
Without,
said encumbrance.
I'm talking prior to that, it's like, we have a lot of money left.
And that was my question.
Exactly. We're on the same page, Gina, just a different chapter.
Same page.
Yeah,
We get it.
good
We're in the
definition.
same book, we're in the same library too.
Well, that's good. Okay, so let's go to the town budget. Start with, oh, page 1. Oh, so actually, we'll throw it out there, Joe, and we'll ask it because it's probably gonna get asked. You know, all the salary lines are for
5%.
5%. Okay, that's what I had, and I just wanted to.
So at the last meeting, just to save you some time like that, you put these numbers down from the last, when we all sat down with the department
Yeah.
heads and stuff like that? Okay. We haven't had an actual selectmen's meeting for us to finalize our numbers, but basically, I think there's only one change, and it hasn't been approved yet, that code enforcement wants to raise his salary, whatever.
Yeah,
Other than that, nothing's changed from what,
from when we met with the department.
exactly, so, and you saw that during that meeting, like that we decreased some stuff as well,
Right, yep.
so basically, that's the only thing that's happened.
Do you know where we ended the year at?
No, not yet,
percentage-wise?
because she's still paying some bills, so.
But we no longer have a freeze, do we?
But when, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not gonna go over budget, but we've been riding a 8% below. I think you're gonna find that's gonna be probably close to being at budget, because downstairs, they were doing some work that was already, to be done before the end of the year. And they got digging into it, and out in the back, we had a big security light out there, hasn't worked, and it was leaking through and run right down from the second floor, right down through by the police department where you enter into it, and it rotted out a bunch of stuff like that, we had to do a bunch of repairs down to that wall, down that building
Oh,
downstairs.
who's doing that?
It's all done, it was advanced construction, they were doing the other part of it,
Yeah.
we had some electrical work that had to be done, and that was totally unanticipated, so. I still think we're gonna come in on budget though, so.
And the budget for, when you say the whole budget, or you mean in the police?
The whole budget still, so. I mean, that's part of, you fix it, you can't let it just keep on going bad, so.
Right, right.
My only concern was that when we replaced the door down there, we told one person about it, who said, oh yeah, that's been like that for 20 years. And you guys didn't do nothing about it beforehand? You're like, it's this far. So,
Okay,
Nice.
so I'm not sure how you wanna go through this, but I guess my suggestion is, I'm gonna go through the line items that I noted that changed, and then we can maybe go back through. So that's just my suggestion from the selectmen's when we met with the department heads. So the first one I had was town reports on the first page, which is in the first section, next to the last one. They had 1,000 in there, and they changed that to 500. Yeah, I just wanna reiterate these so that everybody's on the same
And
page.
you want an explanation?
Yeah, sure.
We used to sit there and send this out, and we had it published by professionals.
Oh, right, Laura's doing it.
And Laura's
that's right.
doing it.
Yeah.
She got the little machine to make the binders and stuff like that, and do it herself.
The next one we have is the supervisors. That was changed to $840 from $1,020. And the ballot clerks, the next one after that, was changed from $200 to $160. I didn't have any other changes on that first page. Nothing really.
We changed that.
Put in a one
Huh?
for stuff.
So we don't-
You know?
Oh, okay.
Did you check
Oh,
the calendar? of
Right, so
events?
I have the E-reg software support as, well, there was nothing in there, so I had that as 0. Is that gonna be 1, Joe, do you know? The first page, sorry, the E-reg software
Next to the
support,
bottom.
the next to the last one. I have that as 0.
We only do that on election year, so.
So do we wanna
So
leave a
zero
dollar in
or
there, or can, oh
We-
no, we can leave it 0, right, so
Right, we
that's.
can leave it 0, we don't have to have the dollar to
Okay,
keep the
right.
line open.
Okay, so it's gonna be 0. So the next page, I have the first line, AccuVote machine, that's going from 1,400 to 250.
Yep.
Okay, and no other changes on that page? And it's not to say we're not gonna discuss these, I just wanna look at the changes first, that's all. Page 3,
Sorry?
the second section, in the newspaper ads, changing that from 400 to 200.
Yep.
Then in the ZBA line, they're changing the ZBA clerk line from 250 to 200. And what did they decide on the workshop? Is that staying at 150, or is that going to 100? I don't recall. I mean, I know there was some back and forth about that. Does anybody? did it-
What
did it
I
I
say?
have 150 still.
Okay, so that's what I have circled, so 150 then. I know there was some talk on it, and that's all I have for changes on that page. There's no updates on page 4. Page 5, in the EMS, the vehicle maintenance line, that was being changed from 3,500 to 2,000.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next one is in the fire department line, the vehicle maintenance was changing from 4,000 to 3,500.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like midway through that section.
Was changed to what?
3,500.
If I read that right.
No other changes
What
on
was the
that
first one on that page?
page. The vehicle
ambulance.
maintenance on the EMS was from
Okay, the other one,
35.
okay.
Okay.
That's the ambulance.
Yeah, nope. So page 6, in the electrical inspection salary, that, changing that from 1,193 to 1,252.
Yep.
And then the EM, so on the EMD, the middle there, the EM cell stipend, that's changed, oh, we're keeping that at 300.
Yep.
Okay, so there's no change there. There was some discussion, apparently no change. And then we're on page 7, all the way to the bottom, B&A, we're changing that to $1,000 from 1,783. Is that correct? The next one, B&A,
Oh, okay.
1,000. And then the CASA, we're changing that from 500 to 200. Page 8. So the homeless shelter will be 0, that line is blank, it's 0. American Red Cross, I think they decided that to go to 0. The hours of hunger is 0. The homemakers is decreasing from 1,000 to 825. A safe place is decreasing from 500 to 250. And Stratford Nutrition and Meals is changing from 1,000 to 250. Does everybody agree with those? Down to park maintenance, they had $1, I guess we're gonna put it at 0 because we don't need to keep $1 to keep it open, we can keep it at 0. The conservation expense is changing from $90 to $100. Workshop is changing from 300 to 200. And then lake assessment program is changing from $360 to $400.
I have the legal fees also.
Okay,
It's
so,
changed from 500 to 400.
see,
No, I don't have one.
I didn't have that either. Do you not recall that one, Joe? The legal fees on the conservation? What did you say? It was changing from
I have 400,
500 to 400?
maybe I wrote
Maybe
the
they
wrong
discussed
spot.
it and,
They would have been reduced down, so they don't use it for anything.
So do you think
So
it is going to
400?
400? Okay,
I'll put a question mark on
Right.
that, cause if I don't have it, you don't have it.
right. And that's fine. I mean, we can,
Yeah.
we'll go,
I could have written it in the wrong spot for all I know.
and we didn't, and that was the only one because we kept, okay, I just want to make sure. And that was it for that page. So the last page, the milfoil fund. Was that, we were changing that? To
7,500.
Okay, 7,500. The capital reserve fund for highway vehicle was going from 0 to 5,000.
Hold it for what?
The capital reserve
Wow.
fund for the highway vehicle, right
Okay,
after
it
the
was going from what?
zero, well, there's blank, so that's 0 to me.
So what we're gonna, what
5,000.
we're doing, we're gonna pay this being paid off.
No,
Okay.
this right here, this line right here. It was
And
0.
if there's zeros, it's because they're paying it off.
Right, well, no, but you didn't budget anything, but then you.
You don't have to budget for it if you're paying it off.
No, but you decided to budget 5,000 going forward, I thought.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did. Are they getting a new vehicle over there? It says,
No.
and I have written down any, so we must have discussed.
Right, so it could
what
be any
one-
vehicle, so it could be a
Any
truck, a
vehicle.
plow truck, it could be a pickup truck, any vehicle.
It's a capital reserve fund.
No, that's fine.
But it was for any highway
I
vehicle.
think,
Right, we
okay,
need clarification on that.
okay, so what we're going to do is we're gonna put money in, the 5,000 into the fund.
Yes,
Right.
Okay, okay,
yes,
okay.
yep, yep.
But Janet has blanks here,
Here.
and
Right.
that, and I was going by that, that's an indication that's being paid off.
Right, it was paid up, right.
But now,
then-
then the same line goes, stop, put money
Yeah.
back
Right,
into it,
yes,
okay.
yeah, yeah. And then the next one I have was projects, that was 20,000 being reduced down to 5,000.
Yep.
And that's all I have. Okay. So that's good. So, we ready? We can start on page 1 again. And I don't, if you wanna go line by line.
Man, it's so much here.
I know.
There is all where it is.
If you wanna go on, I'll go by the sections, is there anything in, the first section, the executive section that you feel we feel it needs to be changed, increased, decreased, and whatnot?
Did anybody receive a pay increase over the summer? I'll
No.
just ask.
No.
From any department?
We had one part-time employee, Wade Bartlett, who works
Oh,
one
right.
or two
He
like
got-
that, and we went from $16 an hour to $18 an hour.
Right.
That's the only person who's got any money.
Yeah, because I think you
He's
were,
police on Sunday and from my season
I know, they
tickets.
pulled me over too.
I just got the lights.
No, he pulled me over. Tammy decided to change and get a vanity plate that says Halloween on it. And I put it in the back window like they said, but I forgot to take the regular plates off, and you can't run two sets of
no, you
plates.
can't.
So I pulled over in front of here and just took it off the screwdriver, he's
Yeah,
happy about it.
yeah.
I said, at least this time you didn't stop me for speeding, he said, well, you were doing 38. Thanks, Wade. Merry, Happy New Year.
We get our money's worth.
Okay. So any discussion on the stuff in the first section, the executive? Has any updates, changes that people want to recommend, feel that they should be made?
When you get out of the police department, I have a bit of
Yeah.
information for you. so.
Okay. So I'm gonna take that as a no. So, so then we go to the next section, which is, it must be the town clerk section. So this, Joe, and you can help us out or kind of throw this out there, is, if, I'm assuming it's gonna be a warrant article,
Yes.
that they're gonna split the town clerk and the tax collector's
Into one
position
position.
to 2 positions?
We want to take and separate the town clerk, tax collector's position to go with the tax collector and town assessor.
Mhm.
Combine those two. That's gonna be the warrant
Yeah.
article.
Is that allowed by law to join the assessor, or is that just a selectman decision?
That's a selectmen's decision prior, way back when.
Which the
But
town had to vote on, the town has to vote
The-
on
the-
that.
I know that statutorily you can combine tax collector and town clerk. I didn't know you could do, are you including town assessor in the warrant article? Or are you just saying separate those two positions
We're gonna separate those two positions down here, but
by warrant article?
by warrant article, and then have a separate warrant article to combine assessor and tax clerk, to make that one
Is
position.
that required by law?
So basically, the budget's gonna change, so whatever you see with here, we'll go with tax collector like that, we'll put those two together, so to speak.
Do you have to do that?
What?
Couldn't you separate tax collector and the clerk? And then just have,
I don't,
a
I
person
think
working
for
two
accounting
part-time
purposes, we
jobs.
should have one for everything. It was just talked about, see if we combine the two. I don't think we should.
I don't think you should either, cause I'm just thinking after Kathy's gone someday,
What
will
else
the
to have?
person be
Right.
wanting to do assessing and,
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean, for the future, stuff like that, it was just something talked about. And possibly.
I didn't know if it was
I don't think we
mandated
should
that
do it.
No,
the same.
It doesn't matter if you have
warrant
three different
articles.
job titles and two people one person doing two jobs, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So. I mean,
but when you
that-
split them up like that, it requires a warrant.
yeah, I understand that
Yeah.
part.
But anyhow, it'll be the same, you're gonna find it to be the same thing here, it's just, you know. Instead of Kathleen will be doing the assessor and tax clerk, and she won't be doing the town clerk stuff at all. So, basically, that's how it's gonna work out.
So, to be clear on this, and I just wanna make sure I'm understanding this, is prior to, so tax collector salary, we paid 26,168, assessing clerk, we were paying $8,930. We're going to do so, to me,
Everything will stay the same, as far as the budget numbers go.
I'm
We
not,
won't
I'm
though,
not
cause you're
seeing that.
increasing,
Because now you're gonna, so you had a tax collector salary, and to me, this was the tax collector, town clerk, because there was nothing allotted on the town clerk from what we budgeted last year, so
Mhm.
we're going from 26,000, we're splitting, even if we just split that out between the two lines, you're going from 26,000 to 21,840 and, 8,400. Am I getting that right, Tracy? No, maybe I'm doing it.
it
So
doesn't
is-
matter, cause
so-
the hours have increased, because you added 8 hours to Kathy's position, and Janelle's 24. So
The tax clerk's position is a minimum of 24 hours.
yeah,
Tax.
That's mandatory, they have to.
Tax
use
or
it.
town? Sorry, sorry.
Town clerk.
Okay,
but
so,
the
That's an
assessing,
elected position, okay, and the way it was always set from way back when was that has to have a minimum 24 hours of
Okay.
being open for that money. If they have more hours of operation, there's no extra money for that. So basically, it's like a salary position,
okay, right, yes,
and it's a salary position with 24 hours a week, that's it.
right.
If they wanna work the extra, I mean, it kinda takes out of their pay, because they're not getting extra money for doing it.
but she has a question on the money, and I'm saying, cause assessing, there, I know that 8 hours got added somewhere.
Oh, it's being added in the assessing clerk, cause the assessing clerk is going from $8,900 to, it's actually almost double, it's going to
I was gonna
$15,725.
say, cause there's
Right.
more people working more hours.
Right,
So
right,
you have to have a money change, it's not
Right.
gonna be a,
Right, so
a
I'm just-
straight change.
right, so I just want
So this is
everybody.
what your notes are reflecting over here then.
Right, what? What's my notes over here, I have much, oh, right.
Yeah, I actually wrote it too.
Well, no, I was just, right, yeah, so separate tax like town warrant article, right, but I mean, I guess the question is we know that there's gonna be a salary increase because now you're gonna have two people working
2 jobs.
3 jobs, but, you know, more hours,
Yeah,
basically.
so it does change the money.
Yes,
Okay.
I just wanna make sure so everybody realizes that we're gonna have an increase there, that's all right, which is fine, just.
Do you have a deputy yet? Kathy Silly's place? Isn't she?
I thought, what's her name, who's doing the town clerk?
Janelle.
Janelle. I thought she was the deputy until Kathy got done,
Right, too.
so
All the stuff
Janelle's
is
the
I
voted
know
on
that they
like
were
that,
looking
so.
for somebody.
right, but I was just saying, my
After
understanding
the,
is.
after the March vote and everything changes, at that point, they can look at it, you know. So,
Kathy Blaney not running again for town clerk?
so right now, Janelle, I don't know Janelle's last name, I can't pronounce it if I did. So anyhow, Janelle, who's now working and she's appointed, she's actually have to be voted on and elected for
Right.
that position
Yes,
coming up in March. And and if that happens, then Kathleen is staying on to help show her how to do the job, whatever, and she's pretty much got it down pat now. Then at that point, Kathleen will be doing the tax assessing thing. Okay, and she'll be a backup if she needs help, whatever, that sort of thing. But
so I'm just gonna ask a question, so I know the town clerk has an elected position, is the tax collector elected position?
No.
No, that was just an appointed,
appointed.
whatever, okay,
Appointed by the selectmen?
yeah,
So the whoever makes, say, but right now Kathleen said, no, Janelle is the person, whatever.
mhm,
It has to be approved by the board of selectmen, and then she gets,
mhm.
taken care of that way, so. You sit on it?
No, I wasn't, it was just on the back of the seat, but it was, so I wasn't sitting on it, no. Okay, so, I just had those questions or whatever, so we're gonna have more man hours or more manpower, or baby, woman power, whatever, people power.
More women power.
Right. So any questions, concerns about
Save.
anything in the town clerk line, I guess, changing, updating any of those numbers? No? So the tax collector line, any updates on those? And I know that was, I know we talked about, the whole mileage for the treasurer, and that was, came up, I think you guys discussed that afterwards at maybe a board of selectmen meeting, saying where it's, because the person is elected and they are doing town business, that you recommended to keep that as paying mileage. But I think John Mullen was gonna look at, but I don't think it says in the statute that you have to give them mileage, but you're choosing to continue to, so I just wanted to put that on as well. That came up. So any changes, recommended changes for the tax collector line? So I have on here, and is this true, Joe? I'm gonna just ask a question. 8 hours a week, that's all the tax collector is working? And I don't know why I put that there. I have 8 hours a week. I mean,
Yes, in theory,
but she'll be here when she's doing the assessing
Right.
of both functions.
Right.
Okay, right, and that's what okay, but technically that's how it's slotted, is or aligned
Yes.
or whatever, okay.
yes.
And so with that, it looks like we're not gonna have a deputy tax collector. Well, there's one in there, so I'm guessing that's what that sounds like to me.
I think after, we'll see how it works like that, next year we have to get rid of it, So.
Okay, so anything else on the tax collector lines? No? The assessing line, which is 4152. Anything in here? No, that is no. The attorney and admin lines? And some of this can't change anyways, because it's health insurance, dental, longevity, police, retirement, workers' comp, unemployment.
Who's the town attorney?
We have two.
Yes.
We have Mitchell Group out of Laconia, and we have another group down out of Nashua.
Is it, those aren't the
Not
same
Jay.
people we use for the school,
Jay's
is it?
pretty much retired.
Oh, good.
The attorneys, do we
What's
use the
that?
same attorneys that the town uses?
No.
The school doesn't, I didn't think so.
Which is all right, because the people they use are really geared towards schools.
Well, no, that's right, I just,
No,
that's
actually,
why I
the
didn't
people
think
we
so.
use are geared to a whole breadth of things. Wadley Stop Heaters provides a whole latitude of coverage. They happen to have a school attorney division
Oh,
of
okay.
about five people on council. It's probably a firm of about 50 or 60.
Oh, they're that big?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was like 5 or 6 people. So,
Yeah, it's kind of like a Nixon, you know, from Manchester's Will Melvin, that kind of thing.
Okay, planning board, the numbers in line items 4191. Any changes there?
Why is the clerk getting $1,959?
Who is the clerk? Who is the clerk?
They haven't got one yet, have they?
Kathleen Blaney's gonna step in and do it.
Yeah,
What department's this now?
The
Planning
planning board.
but they haven't even voted on it to bring it before you guys yet, have they?
Not yet, no.
Yeah.
That'll be this month.
But again, my question is, why is it almost $2,000 for the clerk?
What do they do?
All the minutes, all the meetings.
Oh,
Is it a salary, or
Really?
is it a salary or per instance?
The what?
I'm sorry, I do that.
I didn't hear what she said.
She goes, really? 'Cause she needs
I'll
to
take
lose.
my $2,000, thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is it a salary or is it a per instance? I mean, some years there may be a lot of planning activities, other years there may not.
It's a basic, once a month for 12 months, that we have a meeting, and anything above and beyond, plus all the minutes, all of the running around and go to the, what's it down there in
Stratford County deeds to make a
Stratford
plan.
Regional.
Yes, Stafford Regional, all that kind of stuff is part of it, yes, and you'll notice all the, anything to do with the planning board.
Who was doing it before?
Pastor Tom.
Amy
Oh,
across the
Amy.
street.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, the ZBA line, 4193. Any changes there, recommendations?
But see, the ZBA clerk is only getting $200.
They don't even have one, and the only time they meet is when they have a need to. They don't even have a set schedule.
Who's that?
Huh?
Who's the ZBA clerk?
They don't have one.
It's whoever gets elected when they walk through the door
That's
that
it.
night.
Tag, you're it.
Yeah, if you get here first, you can say, not me.
Look at all these positions open, you can do so much.
That's the only question, the only
was
thing that
already
bothers me, I
asked.
just don't think that $2,000 needs to be paid to the clerk who meets once a month and does the minutes for that one meeting.
But there's more to it than just that.
I know there is, I was on the planning board before,
Well,
but I don't,
Well, like Ken said, is it a per instance, or is it a 1959 divided by 12, and you get this check each month?
I know that this year they're working on the master plan, so she is, whoever the clerk is doing extra work. But, I don't know.
What would you like to change it to?
Would you like to change it, Janet? Go ahead, make a recommendation.
But do they get paid
1,500?
by,
Do you want $1,200? That's like $100.
That's $100 a meeting, right?
I mean, I honest to God don't know what they do, so if you know,
Oh, I know what they do, because
but you don't. You don't know exactly what they do. You're assuming you do because
No, I
based
was-
on your past history.
Right.
Things have changed a lot.
Yes, they
So,
have.
Okay, so, I mean, you know, you're talking $700.
All right, so tell me something.
You're tripping over,
It's not, and
It's
it's
crazy.
not, and that's not the point, Joe. I
Right.
get
what
what you're
has been
saying.
expended, because I can't even see that number
The
because of
point,
the draft.
I guess, to me would be is, and I know I'm probably gonna get listened to, you know, like, so now you got Kathy, she's gonna be the assessing clerk, she's going to be the tax clerk, and then she's gonna be doing the zone, you know, the clerk for the planning board.
Oh, I don't have a problem with
No, but
that.
I'm just saying, you have multiple hats you're wearing, and
okay.
I get that, but it's like, it's all, is it being allocated appropriately?
Yeah, and I don't
You
question
know,
that.
I'm
But
just
but
saying,
my next question would be, if she's gotta go down to Stratford Regional, is she getting paid mileage too?
By law, yeah.
So she's getting paid mileage on
Unless we
top
let
of
her take
that?
a company, town vehicle.
I don't mean that, but I mean,
there's no line on
There's no
here
line
that-
for mileage.
I'm just.
No, because everybody's been doing it for nothing. That's the problem. Everybody's used to this being all-inclusive. People, I can tell you the reason why Amy left is because of the money. And what she's doing for work. It wasn't enough.
how is this paid?
So,
Like, is it per meeting?
once a month.
It's a month, so they're just taking the
Was the-
1959 divided by 12.
Was the planning guy
and
here
check is-
for the meeting?
For the planning board, yeah, Roger was here.
Yep, okay, so Roger was here. Did Roger ask for $2,000?
Yeah, that was part of the budget.
I mean,
When he
that's-
submitted it.
Okay,
That's an
no, I
odd
knew that
number.
answer, that's what. Okay, did Roger ask for
Yeah.
mileage?
Well,
No.
what was it? I
There
can't
you
see
go.
what it was last, what it was year to date expended,
I
but.
don't
I
remember
guess
him
it's
asking
been-
for $2,000.
it's
He
been-
really
it's
just
been
said, like,
19.
yeah, I'm good
Well,
with
that,
this.
no,
And he
that's
was
what it was
surprised
the
as
last
heck when
year.
I asked him
Changed
for,
it
why
once
do
last
we
year.
advertise?
So,
It's, and,
Whatever.
because he hasn't spent that money either. And I can't see because draft is written over it.
Well, that's
Year-to-date
just gonna, no,
expended.
it's gonna be 1959 divided by 12 because.
Yeah, but what
that's-
is year to date? That's what, our next copy that we get at the next
Yeah,
meeting,
but
which
see
will
where it says
be-
draft, you can't read what's
Yeah, we-
under it
right,
to
we
see
need
what
to
was
draft
paid to
somewhere
this
else.
point.
Right.
Well, this one's 6380 left, so.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I don't know my calculator.
So that's 1,600.
So they're obviously, whoever's the clerk is getting paid for that.
And again, if you come in and all she does is the minutes of one
One
meeting, like that, nothing goes on, that's what she gets paid for.
163.25 is
And the next one she gets
1959
slammed.
divided by
I agree.
12.
So,
And she's,
So
on
that's
if
what that
she's,
is. That's just
they didn't
a
got
lump sum.
mileage because she's driving down to Stratford, or is she not driving down to Stratford?
no, what's
We don't know.
happening is the other, like Roger
Joe
or Joe
Mullen.
Mullen like that, are taking the stuff and doing it for us and not get, because they're going down that way anyhow and taking their time to do it, to help offset the cost.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get back to, do we wanna change it? We wanna keep it,
No, just leave it alone.
okay?
It's just an odd amount.
It is an
You
odd
know what I
amount.
mean?
It is an odd amount, 1959. Was it a good year? I don't know.
Just raise it up then.
No, what about 1950? Nice
Drop it
even
down.
number.
I like the 1,200.
Two. So how about, let's go to the ZBA line, ZBA 4193 again. That's 1,200 for that line. The government line, 4194. What do we anticipate for repairs for the municipal building bill? I think did we talk about that? The 15,000? For this coming up year?
Are we talking about new carpeting and stuff?
Oh, yes, that's right, I have that over here, ramping upstairs security for downstairs. Yeah, I have it over there on my notes, Janet.
Just a refresher.
Thanks.
Okay, we have 600 in for propane. We haven't spent anything.
That's for the generator.
Oh, okay.
That's, yeah. So, that's a good thing that we haven't spent, so that means we lost power.
I think that's a maintenance plan outsource or something.
No, maintenance is on the next generator, maintenance is on the next page.
Oh, gotcha.
That one we did.
And we
had
have
to
two
spend-
generators we have to maintenance on. So the one up here and the one over at the old town hall. This one's the fire department, the old town hall, and I think the highway garage.
So, I have a question here. The line item, building and maintenance, my understanding that's lawn care.
A part of this lawn care,
Oh, what else?
well, anything we have to do with the building.
Well, that wouldn't fall under repairs versus maintenance. I'm just curious, I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm just asking.
And I don't, to be honest with you, I think we budget the same amount every year.
Yes, it looks like
So.
it is, so. I was just asking. So, any other questions on the government line 4194? I think 4196, there's really no discussion on that line because that's, I think, all mandated. So this vehicle insurance, so just a quick question, is that for all town vehicles?
Everything.
Okay. So, for lines, the police line 4210, did you say you had a change, Joe, or something?
It's not so much a change, it's more information
Oh,
she
okay,
has.
yeah.
She has. We have a Lieutenant Vogel, who is retiring
Oh,
as of
already.
January 1st.
Oh, that's
Wow.
yesterday?
So he was it's a full-time position, and basically he has to be off to retire, he has to be off the whole month of January, and in February, he's gonna come back to work in the same position as a part-time
Oh.
employee. Same rank, same wage, but we don't pay insurance, we don't have to pay benefits to him.
Oh, good.
So we'll be saving some money there at that point. So, mostly, and he's
Are we
a,
replacing him with another full-time?
no, he's gonna stay on part-time.
No, right,
But
I
he
just-
he's legally, he can work, I don't know what the hours are,
A
but he
certain
can,
number of hours.
Yeah.
so say he's allowed to work, say, 500 hours.
Mhm.
He can do that 40 hours a week, up until those hours run out, then he has to be off, he's done.
So we'll,
For the year.
so we'll probably see a slight shift in from the police full-time
And if
to
you just-
part-time
Right, and, well, the biggest thing you're gonna see is the benefits.
then. Right, oh, which would be, yeah, that would be.
So we're not replacing another,
At this point, no. We will always have it in the future, that if he decides, I'm done completely, then we can hire another full-time. But what we'll do is we'll move the people existing here up in rank and bring somebody else in at a lower wage. So we have a new, so a patrol officer would be coming in at a lower than hiring a new lieutenant would be. See what I mean?
so you will be hiring someone though.
Eventually, there will be somebody replacing it as a full-time, whenever he decides he's done, so.
Anything else? The only one thing I'll note is, when we met, the chief of police wanted to change, the secretary's salary to 14,976, and the selectmen had kept it, had changed it, only did a 5% increase off of the approved budget of 2018, so 13,978, so it's basically $1,000 difference. Is anybody opposed with going with what the chief of police budgeted? 14,976, so it's going from 16,000 to 18,000 now.
I agree with
Danny?
It's okay.
You think it's fine? Okay.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I know.
It's our budget, I
Okay,
can,
right now, right.
we can
Okay,
hear
so
him
no, that's
say.
fine, I'm just asking, because that was the only number that was different, that,
That was the only thing he asked for, is that correct?
yes, that is. Yep.
Did his numbers go down overall or up? I think they were,
He went down, he went from 202 per thousand to $1.90.
I say go for it. How much difference is it for her?
It's $1,000, it's total salary. Well, it's actually 998, I think, I don't know if I did the math right there.
Yep.
So,
How many hours does she work?
I'm
She's
not
part-time,
sure,
I'm
yeah,
not
she's
sure.
part-time, but it's basically going from $16 an hour to $18 an hour. That's what, I had
16 to
commented.
18.
How long has she been the secretary?
Been a while, a couple of years.
But more than 3 years now.
I'll play devil's advocate. Last year we went down to 0. I think if you pick
Oh,
one employee.
But I would say we went down to 0, but I do believe we went down, that's what we proposed, but I believe everybody got a raise in the
Did
town
she get a
of
raise
Milton.
in the last go round?
I believe every town employee got a raise last year.
I just asked if anybody got a raise at all, other than the town meeting, which was voted no, right? At the town meeting, 0?
We proposed 0, but that's not, but we proposed 0, but again, it's a bottom line budget, Tracy, so.
I know, and that's why, okay, so
You
where's that?
did ask that
Well,
question very
I
directly.
did. I asked it very directly because I want.
So I'll ask
You know the
Joe.
sheet we got last year with the individual positions? We need that then. We need it for this year.
So the question is, did any of the town employees get a raise this year? Nobody got a raise.
I'm aware of, no. The only person was Wade Bartlett. The year before, we done the highway department,
Remember that paper
when we
I
did the starting wages,
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
that's
just
the only thing
asking,
that's
'cause
done.
I
That
don't-
was in the summer.
that was in the summer,
In
and
this-
from June until the end of the year, and then we went to the following March
I had it
vote,
last
and we
night.
didn't do anything other than that. Other than
Did
Wade Bartlett going
the
for 16
secretary
years.
get a raise in the summer?
No.
I'm just saying that nobody got, as far as I was concerned, nobody got one. If we're going up 5% for everybody.
That's why
I
we're
would
going to
take-
5%, because nobody got nothing.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying, not that I'm against anybody, but
Versus,
I'm an employee and you're picking one employee out of the town to get an increase, I'm gonna be upset.
Now,
That's just my
hers is
thought.
going up, 5%?
Yeah,
If it's voted on, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm good with the 5%.
not to like, I just think it's.
No,
agree.
I wanted to be
You need
specific,
like-
So
because
if you stop
here's
and
why,
consider that
because
instead of
she didn't
16
get
to 18,
anything
now
the
she may be around
previous year.
17.
Right.
along with,
So,
But then
I'm
again,
just
a
saying-
lot of
But if
the
everybody
other
gets
town
raised,
people didn't
everybody
get,
gets a
only
raise.
certain people, which is
Otherwise-
one of my big problems with that.
yes.
It doesn't
So,
sound fair.
I just needed
No,
to
it's
And
not.
I-
put it in my
Mine
little,
is
to
actually-
put it in my
All
little
right,
block.
okay, all right, no, glad you.
And I wanted to make sure,
no,
when
Good
you
way.
brought that up, and I was like,
Good way of
Okay,
wording
did
it.
anybody get raises? I
It's a
don't
good
get
way of
a
wording
penny.
Thank you.
No,
Step
I just,
increase.
I didn't, okay, no, that's, I know
She's
we
got 5%
proposed, I know what we proposed in the,
So did I.
no, but I mean, again, it's a bottom line budget, so.
And don't worry,
we spend
when you get
the
to town
money.
meeting like that, you can sit there and say, you agree 5% across the board. We say 5%, the taxpayers can say, no, we want 3%.
Oh, absolutely,
Yes,
and I did
that's-
that.
And that's, right, and that's, I
And
agree,
that's okay, but
right. Okay, so anything else in the police section? Now we hashed that one. The EMS section, EMS lines, 4215. And I think we,
Is that all straightened out with the,
oh yeah, with what's his-
07? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. We got to take advantage of, and no one had their eye on the ball. I had a conversation with the fire chief about it, and basically,
this-
set his own hours. So,
Yeah, Joe
and
asked about this.
I drive by, I see him over there working, but I don't know what his schedule is, you know, so hey, at least they're doing it, right? Well, doing it a little too well.
Well, because that.
The guy bought, that's been stopped.
No, but because the question was, is at some point in time, do they be considered a
Yeah,
full-time?
when you
maybe not
average
that-
40 hours. too
Exactly
long.
right,
Right,
and,
and
and,
because that's the
and
concern was
that was
that.
the whole concern with the fire chief, that we can't allow that
because
to happen.
It's a shift.
No,
Okay.
and we just can't let these guys willy-nilly make up their own hours to make them fit what they wanna do. So,
Okay.
he's working on that.
Alright. Well, the concern was, is do we, get to the point where we start tapped out for the.
By law, we have to.
Right,
Yeah.
and so then that becomes another expense for us, obviously.
And I don't think it's 40 hours. I'm not.
Right, I don't
because
think
I'm-
it's right,
I think it's
yeah.
a bit, I think the number is like 36. If you work a
Right.
certain
And it's
amount of
not
weeks.
even like a few weeks, it's an average.
Yes, I
know
think it is.
You know, it's I think it's less than 35 also. This is also in some, like, Walmart, you get a 28, you're still considered a full-time employee.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you gotta be very careful on it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, how about the fire line, 4220? Any changes there?
pretty much everything went down. I mean, the same went down. So I think the bottom numbers is,
It's the same, the cost per thousand is the same, it's, I think. Oh, did I do that wrong? No. Yes, it went down, sorry, it did go down. It's on the next page, so it's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
top line, the next
Yeah.
page.
When was this reprinted, do we know?
Yeah, right there, 12/5/2018 at 1:52 PM.
yeah, we get a difference here for the, selectmen's proposed
Oh,
fire chief's salary.
Oh, his is more. Selectmen's, I believe, for 5%.
Selectmen's is actually lower.
Yeah,
yeah. So,
maybe that was a typo.
maybe. Well, we'll keep the 63 on. So the next one, the code enforcement, 4240. So is this one where you said, was there gonna be a proposed change, Joe?
Yeah, John Mamone come back in and said something about, trying to increase his salary. And I just found out about that before the meeting.
Oh.
So I don't know what number he's talking about or anything.
Oh,
So,
okay.
next meeting we have, I'll find out whether it's gonna be, the other two are gonna talk about it.
Mhm.
I'll let you know what the number is.
Okay. Yeah, because.
I think a little bit late in the game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say no, but
because-
I'm one voice of three, so.
Because I think we can talk about it at the January 21st meeting, but then after that,
That's
that's,
a done
we're
deal.
done, yeah. So the emergency management lines, we're good with those, 4290. So now we're in the highway department, 4311.
So again, on that one, the only thing, the difference would be the 5%. I mean, Rick has a pretty good handle on his budget, so.
Can I go back to code enforcement
So,
for a second?
yeah,
Did they
sure.
go, did he get a 5% raise?
Yeah, the 5304.
4 to 50, that's 5% in between?
5570.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be 5%, I don't know.
Which one's that?
Code
The
enforcement.
code enforcement.
It is.
5304 to 5493?
5570, yeah.
That's not 5%.
5304 to 5570 is, yeah, it
Where's
is.
55, oh,
Yeah,
well,
it's,
the proposed
Yeah,
budget.
proposed.
yeah,
Proposed.
Oh, not
So
the pro-
theirs is 5%.
right, the selectmen's is, yeah, that's because I don't think, maybe maybe he thought because he didn't put anything in, Joe, and he was saying it's saying 53, but actually he's put in 50, so, I don't know, unless he, maybe he wants more money.
Does he want, if you could?
We don't know yet,
Yeah.
Joe's gonna find out about that.
Okay.
So.
Good point on that. Okay.
So the highway, right, so I guess, okay, the highway seasonal, is that just Butch Barron for the winter?
I mean, there may be some projects during the summertime they pull them in for as well.
That should, that doesn't need to go up to bid,
If it's a small project,
I'm just asking.
small project. So,
And
all
what-
there, not Butch.
I was just
Oh,
gonna say.
whatever,
that.
yes, yeah,
Brother.
Barron
Yeah.
Brothers,
Yeah.
right, whatever, so I don't know which one is which. I don't know who any of them. And the only other question I have is, what line is the, drug testing coming through for the highway? Is that gonna come through the highway, or is that coming through
It'll probably come through the government.
the government
ours.
line?
The what?
Drug testing,
Drug testing program.
all employees who have CDLs.
Yep, it's a federal mandate.
That means our police chief has a CDL and he's
Yep.
will participate in it. So,
Well, it's federally mandated,
Oh, it's mandated by the,
federal government.
well,
what had happened,
I know it's always CDL, any trooper can, DOT can have random test anytime they want.
back up until 2003, there was a random drug testing going on in the town of Middleton. Basically, the company that they were testing through went out of business. And during that process, whoever was here at the time working in the office and the selectmen, whatever, dropped the ball, and basically it never got picked back up again. And we've been out of compliance for like 15 years.
Oh, gosh. So that's $1,000 a day per
So-
employee.
So basically,
Do we have to pay that?
Well, if
so
the
basically, we've
federal
been told that,
It's okay.
get it re-implemented and get it going again and get it activated and stuff like that. So we're at the process now where we have a drug policy in the policy manual. It's at the attorneys now to make sure it gets the blessing and stuff like that before we implement it for sure. Okay, because we don't want anything legally to be out of it or something that needs to be added into it, it'll be added into it. And then we're gonna adopt it as town policy and implement it immediately afterwards. So
when is that gonna happen? This has been going on.
probably by the
for
next selectmen's meeting.
Okay, 'cause
As long as we get back from the attorneys, I can't speak for them.
I'm just saying
I'm
that,
just telling you
I
that-
think the federal government guy, the one in Concord, could come over here and say, you were notified of this back in September.
We have already been
and
talked,
I'm
right?
just saying,
You
'cause-
can just say all you
They didn't notify us
want.
for 15 years though?
You
No,
can
it's-
say all you
it's-
want. All they
it's
said
random
is,
auditing. If you get audited, that's all.
they tell you just, look, as long as you feel that we're working on getting the thing reinstated like that, they're gonna be happy about it. And that's what we're working on. So, that's all we have to worry about.
Because the issue is if, it's a huge liability to the town, that if one of those trucks is in an accident, it's automatically, they've gotta go piss test.
Mm-hmm.
Any CDL driver has to.
Yeah.
It's DOT.
Right, and if it comes back flawed, you're automatically at fault. Even if
The town
the town is at fault, so it's, well, the town is opening themselves up to a, potentially a large lawsuit, and especially since we're getting into snow weather, somebody hits you, some car hits the truck,
They still have to go.
right,
Doesn't matter whose fault,
Yep.
they have to go.
so it's.
Yeah.
Okay, so, the
On the
next,
overtime line, the
Yeah.
selectmen still are proposing, what, $10,000 under what we expended? We're expecting that to go down?
Oh, where are you?
the third line down in highway, Joe, overtime, you guys, are recommending 24,150. And last year they spent 34,100. Or three.
Yeah, no, we're going with what Rick had put in and stuff like
Oh,
that,
okay.
so, I mean, Rick's, like I said, Rick's, it's hard to predict all that
Right.
anyhow. It's all weather related, so we just go with a bottom number that we know historically has always been there. You know, and if we get hit on it, then we adjust, we just leave it alone. If we don't get hit on it, we go under, then we save some money. So, I mean, it's hard to predict that one.
Same with salt and everything else.
Right, same with salt and
Right.
stuff like that.
That's Tracy.
I mean, we've used more salt so far this year. It's like, you know,
Yeah. Okay, so the lines, well, the next section, I don't know what that is, like 4316, 4319, 4323, and yeah, those lines,
it's basically all
Yeah.
historical stuff.
right.
I mean, it's not changed from last year, so, you know, if you look at the numbers, we're pretty close to be on
Yeah.
track. I mean, you know, so.
The next, the animal control line, 4414, any changes, any updates, any recommendations?
I only get a 5% increase.
And then the next section, 4415, which seems to be
We saw the
donations.
donation handout.
And I think we already gone through that, and I think that will go through those numbers. So the welfare line, 4444. That looks fine. The next section, which is the 4520, 4583, 4589, which are like the parties, or I don't know, the maintenance and kids' parties. That's fine. Any changes? Conservation, 4619. Those lines got changed quite a bit. But I think that's good. Then the next section, which is 4711, 4723, 4900. Oh, so can I ask Joe, this 2015 highway truck principal,
Mhm.
what's that?
That's the last plow truck we got.
Oh, plow, okay, that's what I was thinking. Thanks.
And that's the payment, and you should have one for, down below, maybe that's not in there. I know in the other breakout we have, it shows the principal and it shows the, what we paid for
Interest.
interest
Oh,
on
okay,
it.
so no, oh, no, I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it, but that's all right. There's the leases, there's.
probably all
There's
in
the
one
road.
now.
Yeah, they used to have to break it out, but I thought Laura said they don't have to do that anymore.
So,
So, oh, you
We were actually, that whole, you talking about the lease question about how we used to always do it. We were gonna, school side, because of the controversy surrounding it, gonna go ahead and get legal counsel to weigh in, just end it.
Oh,
Well, with
whether you
regards
get a
to
warrant
per
article or not?
vehicle.
Yeah, warrant articles.
Yeah, because there's a controversy, the disagreement amongst many about.
Oh, whether you should.
The consensus I got out of the meeting here we had was that we listened to what Laura had read off, and that it sounded like you didn't need to do a warrant.
Because she said there was no expenditure, but there certainly is.
Well,
No
because
matter how
there's
you
an
look
estate.
at it.
I'm not looking to get into a debate again,
Yeah.
and go all over it, all over
Right.
again, just let me finish.
Right.
So, and then what we have been doing is historically, whether it was right or wrong, have always been doing it.
Well, exactly.
So if the determination is made not to supposedly keep rehashing doing a warrant article when you don't need to, and then people get upset that it doesn't need it, well, you should have an explanation other than one of us saying, well,
We read it.
I'm reading it this way.
Right.
And then we go through what we just went through the other night for 15 minutes. It all depends how you're gonna spend your time, so why not just go to the people who deal with it and know it and, you know, and find out
You have to make a
what's needed.
decision.
And it's one less warrant article. I mean, we get town meetings, we get what, 25 warrant articles, 20 warrant articles?
Yeah.
One less warrant article, you gotta,
Let's chop it down to about 17 or 18 or less.
the idea of the lease is, the killer of it all is, the idea of the lease is to even out the costs, and not, like, we ran into that whole self-contained breathing apparatus thing with the fire
Oh, right.
department. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, it should always have been in there, always a certain value every year. There's no reason why they didn't have that equipment.
I mean, no argument.
Right.
Can I agree with that?
So are we good with that section? So then it gets us down to 4950, 6010, 6015, 6120, which I think those are just all,
Yeah, some of the stuff you can't
well,
change.
two of them actually is the employee social security and those aren't, and the other lines are zero, so. So as is right now, we are aligning with what the selectmen are proposing. Is that what I'm hearing? And so, Joe, if you could ask Laura to print off, because I know you guys have to put these in, you're gonna meet or whatever.
Yeah.
So before our next meeting, which is January 21st.
Well, ours is next Monday.
Right, so
we'll
if
take
we'll get
care
a,
of that.
yeah, we'll get a clean copy and then we
Yeah.
can just go through, I think, that Monday night meeting of us and go
If we
through.
could get draft over in the corner or something,
There.
instead of.
Oh, yeah, not
Because
across
you can't
the-
see it when it's on the
Yeah.
numbers.
or something.
Oh, yeah, don't print it like that. Yeah, I'll try to hear it, change that.
Now, do we have the public hearing set for the 21st?
The public hearing is set, no, the
No, the
public,
22nd.
yes, the public hearing is the 22nd, which
On
is
the
the
bottom
day
of your
after. Yeah.
sheet.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Like pretty much every date. And those dates are right, the town voting day is March 12th right there, and then the town meeting is the 16th.
Right, that's gonna be
Okay.
Tuesday, 12th, and then the
Okay.
Saturday the 16th.
16th, okay, perfect.
Do you know of any warrant articles?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bruce.
There's no, from my understanding, we haven't discussed it, but there's no big equipment we need to put a warrant article to do for
I know the
nobody.
night of our last meeting, Bill was here regarding, and talked about the vote a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking $3,500, but again, we'll put that off as a warrant article, but to be honest with you, out of this budget, and stuff like that, you probably end up just buying the damn thing. You might get a motor for it.
Well, as the
It's
White
quick.
Bay firefighter, I would just like to put out there that we need new radios because
We're working on it,
honestly,
so
you
I'm
call
telling you,
in
we're
with
working
a-
on it.
heart attack. What I heard the other night was nothing but static and it was an EMT call. Very scary
Mm-hmm.
to have my husband be like, this is what we're listening to.
I've been working with him, okay, and with the money he had in his budget, ordered two in for this past year, so to get two, because he had the money in his budget left over. And then now, after March, he can get two more, that will give him 6 brand new radios to start with. And I told him, we can't make them, but we can even put a warrant in it to get some more radios as well. But doing it a little bit at a time, again, will get us on that rotation that instead of buying a bunch of them now and whatever, and they all have to buy a bunch of them again 10 years from now, but slowly just work them around like that and then
I
just swap them
understand
out.
that, but in a crisis, if it's
Well,
your
the big-
family member, you won't understand
My
that.
my biggest problem is you come in here and here's 6 unit radios and I want like that, and you never see them again. They should be over there, the new ones, in a charger, and whoever's on duty for that week should have them, the new ones anyhow. And then as they come in, start rotating them out so people can take them home if that's what they need to do. You don't have enough for everybody.
When you
So-
mean like, just for the EMS side?
Well, whoever's doing EMS, whatever, for at night, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are they the same radios?
Yeah, we're all.
Well, no, I'm just,
Oh, so you're not talking two-way communication?
is it like a scanner? I don't know,
Well, they all right now have that app on their phone.
Right.
It's not,
That's not reliable.
No.
it's not
well, not if
reliable.
you
Not
don't
around
have,
here.
but it's
Not
out
right
there.
It's the static, it's, so they're getting ready for a call, they can hear something's coming in, and then I was like, is that what the EMS are listening to? You know it's a medical call, but you can't hear anything.
Again, I mean, we can only work on the problem with so much money. If you want us to put a warrant in, they get another, I don't know how many they need to have, I mean, ask them, you could have 100 would be enough, but, so realistically, how many do you actually have to have?
Honestly, anybody who doesn't show up to call should not have one. That's
No,
my
that's
honest
fair.
opinion.
I agree.
You're not at regular meetings, so you can't have one.
We're not gonna have
Well, sort of these aren't two-way radios, these are just the vice versa.
Channels on, yeah.
They
You
listen
could
to
just,
it.
No, they're actual communication radios, they're portables.
Oh.
So they can, you know,
That's what I wanted to
the other part of it is we have, part of the system is analog and part is digital.
Oh.
It's like, and then that's where you get a lot of the interference and stuff like that. The new radios are basically coming all digital, we have an analog system. You don't work that way. So now you're gonna change those base stations out, which is even more money, but we have to do it. We have to upgrade eventually, or else we're gonna be in trouble, you know? I mean, the police department's pretty much all done, you know?
Did
Now we gotta
fire
work
chief
with the
ask for new
department.
radios?
No. He's more concerned about a Zodiac boat than his radios. I mean, that, again, I got a meeting
And
with, I got a meeting with him, so we're gonna do
How much are the
chit chat.
radios?
Portables are right around, last I heard, it was right around $3,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay. I was just
25 to
curious.
3,000. They don't give them away.
No,
Don't give
I'm
them
just-
away.
yeah.
As a taxpayer though, we've gone so long without a vote, I would much rather the firefighters and the EMS people to have radios than a vote. I know it is, but honestly, if you heard it going all up.
But
I'm
you
probably
can't
subject
use
matter
the
expert
boat
if
if you
that
can't
is.
hear, you can't use the boat if you can't hear what the call is coming from.
I can articulate most sense,
Just-
that's easily enough.
Well-
Anything else?
No.
I'm just comment, where we have a lake in our community and stuff like
I
that.
know.
I know history shows that we haven't had a lot of issues on the lake. But I hate to tell you, I'm gonna equate this with everybody back in the school board about the fence around the pond down there, okay? You're trying to, you wanna do it to prevent something in the future of happening. So if we do have something down there that happens, at least we say we have the equipment to be able to do
I
it.
agree with you.
As a
And,
former,
and then, of course, Chief Florence, trying to be frugal, okay? This is the model I picked out. Well, what do you do with that by the time you get two people in there? Okay, you need someone to operate the motor, you need someone who's an EMP working on the person. 3 people in this small Zodiac, it ain't gonna work, somebody's gonna be falling overboard. Why don't you go to the next size bigger for another $1,000? You know, whatever, $800, whatever it was. I mean, I'm not trying to spend money, but I can just see that as something, let's go play on the lake and train. I want something that's gonna be, if you can use it, you know, make it so
As a
it's right.
former Marine Patrol
So-
officer.
And
Boats,
by,
boat.
supposedly by the end of this
Can't
month, fingers crossed, the new ambulance should be showing up,
Oh, good.
so, fingers crossed.
Anything else?
So.
So I'll entertain a motion to.
I make a motion to,
I'll second it.
All right, we will adjourn at 8:09. All those in favor?
I-
All those opposed?